Oh my gosh, this apple is amazing. It's called a Sweet Tango. My patient was telling me how much she loved it today. So I was like, oh, I'll buy some. Wow. Wow. Not for you. Oh, it is delicious and it's not for you. It's got such a nice blend of crispness and sweetness. This is my second one in a row. I just took her for a walk, ate one on the way, and I was like, oh, I need another immediately. I know I gotta teach in a second, but damn, these apples. Getting a little fuel before teaching y'all. Charming just ate her dinner, so she's ready. Right? Oh my gosh. All right, good. I've got a viewer. Should probably put this apple down now. Oh my gosh, the apple is so good. I can't get over it. I'm probably gonna need another one after class. So anyways, welcome to yoga with me on Mondays, to the new time. Hopefully this is a better time for y'all. It's a better time for me. I just wanted to bump it up a little bit earlier, see if we could capture a larger audience, as well as getting you guys to bed just a little bit sooner. So I hope that we will like the new stream time, and the plan is to repeat the stream a couple other slots throughout the week. So stay tuned for that. That will be growing and changing. So let's find a comfortable position to begin in. I'm going to begin in kneeling today. That may or may not be your most comfortable position to begin in. Hello, Miss Lynn. Nice to see you. Well, hear from you, I suppose, since I don't see you. All right, not right now, Charming. Lay down. Let's get the dog set. Lay down, please. Lay down, please. She's so fun, right? So begin with your hands maybe resting on your lap. If you don't want to sit like this, if your ankles or your knees are really tight, you don't have to sit like this. You can certainly sit Indian style, or what crisscross applesauce I think is now what we have to call it in the school system. So, but I'm just going to sit like this just for a comfortable start. Wherever your hands are, use the pressure of your hands to push your spine up just a little bit taller. And before we even close our eyes, let's take a few moments to just reset the shoulders. So we have our shoulder joint, which moves in a circular motion, but then we have our scapulas in the back, which move up, down, and then they wing out, and then they can also retract back together. So we're gonna let the arms rest, but we're gonna move those scapulas around. That's kind of more the true shoulder area. So we're gonna shrug the shoulders all the way up towards your ears, and maybe you notice that they didn't have too far to go. And then we're gonna bring them back, which is probably a little bit challenging on the chest. Drop them down, and then forward, and then up, back, down, forward. One more time. Up, back, down, forward. And then let's just reverse that. So we're gonna go back, up, forward, down. Let's do that 2 more times. Back, up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down. And then we're gonna go backwards, but this time we're just gonna make it more fluid. So we're gonna make a big circle, 2, and then 3, and then relax them down. And we wanna keep them in that down position so that the chest, is nice and open and broad, and the hands can then just a gentle pressure against the thighs to help hold your spine upright, whether you're seated on your bottom or kneeling like I am. And now let's just take a moment to close our eyes and rest the vision for a moment, because all day long we're looking at things and we're taking in the colors and the shapes and the textures, and we're just seeing so much throughout our day, and it's a lot to take in. We have to process that part of our sense organ, And so as soon as we close our eyes, we allow for ourselves to begin tuning inward and really quieting down some of that mind activity that needs to process what those visuals are. So perhaps just gazing in the back of the eyelids and appreciating the darkness or the colors that may be present. And just allow a few soft breaths to enter and exit the body. And already we begin to just feel a shift of relaxation, perhaps, a shift of maybe just the time that we knew that we would take for this. Just we've arrived in our bodies, we've arrived in the awareness of our breath, and now this is our time for ourselves to check in. Let's see if we can keep the eyes closed. Certainly if you need to crack them open to just get a reference for what we're doing. Otherwise, just see if you can maybe follow the prompts with my voice. We're just going to keep the chest nice and open by keeping that little bit of pressure against the thighs, but drop the chin down towards the chest just so you can feel the space on the back of the neck. Begin to breathe into the back of the neck. And just allow that head and neck to come back up to neutral, and you might choose to stay neutral. If extension of your neck is bothersome, then you can skip this one, but if not, you can just lift the chin up towards the ceiling, really stretching through the front of the throat. Still try and keep that chest nice and lifted, press into the thighs and allow the spine to stay nice and tall. And then just allow that head and neck to come back to neutral. Let's take our right ear towards our right shoulder. It's not really about what it's looking like, and of course no one's looking at you, so I can't see you. My eyes are closed and I'm virtually away. But just feeling what that's like to lengthen the left side of the neck, to maybe breathe into that part of the body. And let's rise the neck back up to neutral and just drop the left ear down towards the left shoulder, feeling the right side of the neck begin to lengthen. And then let's rise up once again. If you had your gaze open, you would look over the right shoulder as if you're looking over your right shoulder when driving, and then just drop the chin down towards your underarm to feel a slightly different pull on the left side of the neck. And then we'll rise the head and neck back up, rotate your head back to center, and then look over the left shoulder. Drop the chin down towards your underarm, feeling that nice pull. Always encouraging your breath to just spread and move into the body, especially in the areas that we may be targeting. And then we'll lift that head and neck back up to neutral and bring our head forward. Let's go ahead and just keep a soft gaze so that we can continue with our practice. Wonderful. We're going to just slide our hands down, or you can roll over on your knees. Let's do a couple cat-cows to further warm up our spine. So we're going to drop our bellies down, lift up through our chest, lift up through our heart and our gaze, stretching through the front of the body with an inhale. And then round through the back, tuck the tummy in towards the spine, hi Jeremy, and allow yourself to come into an exhale. Hi, baby. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I'm making a little bridge for my dog, apparently. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, allowing the chin to tuck to the chest. Inhale, lifting up. Hi, baby.
Thank you for the encouragement.
Okay. Okay. Exhale, bringing the chin to the chest. Inhale, lifting up. It'd be great if someone was just kissing you throughout your whole yoga practice, encouraging what you were doing. Exhale, rounding through the back. Let's take just one more. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rounding through the back. And we'll just come to a neutral tabletop position. We're gonna call this kind of a tail wag for the next part. So we're gonna just take your gaze, look over the right shoulder and look towards your right hip and kind of bob your right hip to that side. So you create a little side bend stretch on the left. Let's inhale back to center. Exhale, looking over the left shoulder and looking towards that left hip, cocking it to the side. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, coming back towards the right. Inhaling to center. Exhaling to the left. Let's take one more each direction. Inhaling. Exhaling. High. Inhale. Exhale. And then we'll just inhale, coming back to the center. Very nice. Let's take ourselves up into downward facing dog. I'm gonna flip all 10 toes underneath the body, push back into those heels and see if you can just lift up off of the knees. And just note again that sensation in the wrists, because you want that to be really light. If you do have wrist issues here when you're in tabletop, this is a really good indication of how your downward dog is going to feel. So you really want to start shifting that weight back into the thighs and using your shoulders to help support your posture. So shifting back against the hips, floating the knees, and then allowing the body to stack up into that nice downward facing dog. I'm gonna separate my feet a little wider just because it feels good for my first downward dog of the day, which this is my first downward dog of the day. Pushing your hands against the surface that you're on and just trying to get the biceps and the ears aligned with one another. You can tuck your chin towards your chest. Feel free to bend these knees as much as you need in order to try and get the tailbone further up towards the ceiling and to just kind of take some of that weight away from the arms, maybe to work on getting that straight line. Certainly we can, alternate, charming, hi baby, okay. We can alternate pressing one heel towards the floor while the opposite one bends, getting into the arches of our feet and into the calves. And just continue to breathe as you're in your downward facing dog. Maybe your hips sway a little bit from side to side to further open up the pelvis. And then let's just make a nice soft way up to our hands. So we're just gonna walk those feet up. You can keep a nice wide stance, especially for this first fold. And we're just gonna allow that upper body to rest. See how my belly is really resting on top of these thighs. We wanna always encourage the legs to be the support structure for the upper torso. So we're gonna completely relax through the head and neck. The arms are completely relaxed. You can bend as much as you need, and then over time, as you lift up through the tailbone, you're still staying pretty connected with those thighs as you shift into the balls of the feet and breathe into the body. Let's take a few cycles of breath here. Let's make it 3. After that third exhale, let's just drop our bottoms down, take those arms, swoop them up. We're gonna rise, coming all the way to standing. Bring the arms overhead and then releasing them back down to heart center. Very nice. Let's step out into a wide stance. So I think I'm gonna stand back here. This will help to be seen. A nice wide stance. We're gonna do some kind of side lunging and some side angles. So let's take the right toes, and we're gonna turn them out towards the side. And this back leg, really the direction of the toes can be whatever's comfortable. They can kind of angle a little bit backward, neutral, or a little bit inward. But we're gonna start to bend into that right knee so that we start to create a stretch on the left hip, and we're starting to get some tone and strength into that right thigh. So I'm facing the camera, so my hips are square to you guys. And so then my shoulders are gonna follow suit with where my hips are. So we're gonna stay nice and aligned, nice and vertical. And we want the same pressure through both feet and both thighs, even though they're doing different things. We wanna feel like they're sharing an equal role in their contribution to holding ourselves upright. Let's take our hands on our waist to begin and just squeeze those elbows back towards one another. And as you hold yourself upright, just check in with this right knee. And if you feel like it's buckling in, I want you to really try and open up that pelvis by squeezing your right bottom and allowing it to stack right over the ankle. It may not actually align that perfect, especially if this is new to you, but it's your intention, and that's gonna help start to shape some of the buttocks areas to support our trunk and torso, and also provide some of that inner thigh groin stretch here. So we're opening up our heart center by squeezing those elbows back towards one another, keeping the hands kind of either on the hips or even pretending you have pockets and tucking them in. That might be a more comfortable hand placement. And then let's take another 3 cycles of breath here. Very nice. And I don't want you to change anything in the legs or in the trunk. I just want you to release the arms and allow them to float to the shoulder height, and see if you can get them stretching nice and long apart from one another. The palms are going to face down. This is your warrior 2. It is the exact alignment that you want, that we just prepared for. The only change that we're going to make is our gaze. We're going to take our head and look over the right shoulder towards the middle finger or the index finger of that right hand, whichever one feels more important to you to focus on. And let's take 3 cycles of breath. Excellent. Let's allow those arms to relax. And we're going to straighten out through the right knee, dial the toes inward, and then we'll just simply switch to the other side. So we'll dial the left toes outward and start to bend into that knee. The common thing that will happen, that my hip just did, is that as I was bending in, I felt this hip wanting to roll forward. And so to keep in the line, I'm just going to stagger my feet a little bit more so that it's easier for me to maintain the squareness of the hips. That is part of the challenge, is trying to keep them nice and open. So we'll just remind our shoulders that they want to be stacked above the hips, and that our legs are doing equal parts. Maybe just checking in with this left thigh, making sure that it's not buckling inward. Maybe even putting your hand on that outer edge of the thigh and just press your thigh into it to help encourage the left buttocks to squeeze a little bit more. And that's going to help really cinch up the hips and provide some good extension out of the spine. Let's take our hands to our hips again, maybe tucking in your pretend back pockets, or maybe you really have pockets, and then squeezing those elbows together. Most likely the second round for your chest part will be a little easier. We're already a little bit more open. So let's take 3 cycles of breath here, keeping your body square to whatever direction you're facing. Just keep the whole body exactly as it is, except for the arms, and just allow them to float back out into that shoulder height, reaching the arms in opposite direction. And then just take your gaze over that left shoulder, looking at the index or the middle finger. And we'll repeat again 3 cycles of breath here. Let's relax the arms. Let's allow that left knee to straighten and dialing the toes in. And in fact, heel toe, bringing your feet in several times so that you just find yourself at a good hip width distance apart. And we're going to take our right leg and I'm going to step forward. And I want to keep my hips nice and square, and I'm going to allow my hands to come all the way down to the mat. And I'm going to inch my right foot forward and or slide my left hip back so we come into a nice low lunge. And so this is a great way to now open up the pelvis in more of a square position. If at any point you want to drop that left knee, just drop it. This is still going to allow you to get the benefits of the stretch. The difference of having this leg up, it provides a little bit more strengthening to the back of that thigh. So I'm going to just keep my fingertips pressed into the mat. Again, blocks may come in handy because they bring the floor up to you, so it's a little bit more accessible. And if you did choose to have your leg up, let's use some breath with this movement. So let's say we inhale to drop the knee and exhale to press it back up straight. If you already have the knee dropped, you're just going to breathe 3 times. Excellent. And then we're gonna take, let's go ahead and just drop that knee and slide our right leg back and just slide your left leg forward. We'll just come into this a little bit more backwards. And then we're gonna flip onto the ball of the back right foot. Again, you can stay right here. This is a fantastic stretch for those hip flexors. Or if you'd like to take just a little breathing and movement, ensure that you're just tightening up the back of that glute. Oh, hi, where have you been? Makes me nervous when you go away for a bit. I wonder what you're doing. What kind of trouble you're getting into. All right, so let's take those 3 breaths. Inhale, or I'm sorry, inhale here. Exhale, press. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And let's drop that knee. Slide the other leg back. Sit back on your heels. Let's take the arms out to the side and rise them up above your head, stretching them nice and tall, and then bring the hands back down to heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Very nice. Hi, charming, I know. Okay, let me check in with our timing. Okay, perfect. So let's do another hip rotator stretch. So let's take a seated one today. So I'm gonna slide my right leg forward and let the sole of this foot come in contact with the top of my left thigh. If you prefer pigeon, and pigeon's something that's part of your practice, this would be a great place to insert it. Just like to show some modification. So I'm just gonna keep this like kind of in what we call like a half W sit. So that way I can just focus on this hip. And so we're gonna square our shoulders over this thigh and then just start to walk your body over that thigh, maybe dropping down onto your forearms. It depends on where you feel the onset of the stretch. And you should be feeling it, well, I shouldn't say should. Where we feel these stretches can be different for everybody depending on the ratios of your body length. So you might be feeling a tight pull in the inner thigh groin, but targeting kind of the outer hip and buttocks area is really what we're going for. So if you feel in the groin, my theory is that your inner thigh is far tighter than what your buttocks is. So some inner thigh stretching may be a little bit more important for the time being. Maybe even to just start with an inner thigh stretch before coming into something like this. It will help to encourage the hip opening. Hi, sweetheart. And so let's use a couple cycles of breath here to help enhance our depth and the sensations in the body. And maybe now that we're not really in a balancing position and once you've nuzzled in, perhaps you choose to close your eyes so that you can really feel the breath as it moves through the body. So let's take 3. Hopefully you felt as you continued to exhale that you were able to sink a little bit closer down towards your thigh. You are just a lover tonight, aren't you? Okay, so we're gonna take our hands, push yourself back up to a nice seated position, and we'll just cross this leg over, bring this leg back so that the now sole of the left foot is on top of the right thigh. I'm just gonna square myself a little bit over this thigh. Start to walk my palms down. If, of course, your ribs or belly get in the way, you can kind of just move a little bit more in this direction. Different angles may change the way that you feel this stretch, so feel free to experiment. It's not really about how it looks, it's just about how it feels for you. So we'll take the same couple cycles of breath here, perhaps with the eyes closed, to tune inward and to feel that relaxation in the body. Very nice. Let's go ahead and start to take ourselves out of that position. Very good. Let's take our legs to the front. We will take a little inner thigh stretch. So we'll take a little butterfly here. The feet can come together, and the thighs, we can start to encourage them to come downward. We're going to do that with the pressure of our elbows. So you can either grip the ankles or you can grip around your feet. And then let's keep that same concept where when we move the shoulders up, back, and down, let's try and do that again here, where we shrug, we squeeze, we go down, but we're gonna hold them in that down position. Really see if you can maintain that. And now just bend through the elbows to bring your chest closer down towards your feet. And then if the elbows can reach, they might just be able to help encourage a little push to the calves and knees. So now you really may feel that inner thigh stretch if it was tight for you in the previous posture. Two more cycles of breath here. Very nice. Let's start to just allow the spine to come back up nice and tall. And I believe we are pretty much at time. So if this is your final step of the evening, perhaps get yourself cozy in bed and maybe let your sleep be the part of your Shavasana that takes you right to bed. If you're not ready to be done for the night, then perhaps set an alarm if you want to go for a duration of time, something that's not too jarring, something that's nice and soft and gentle to bring you out of Shavasana. So you can bring your legs together, you can scoot your bottom forward, rest onto your back, get love from your loved ones and your animals. Hi, baby. Your palms can face up. Hi, okay. Ow, jeez. I love you too. This dog, I can't get enough of her. All right, palms can face up. Your knees, they can go knock-kneed together, or you can also splay them just like we were before with our inner thigh stretch. You can have them out straight with them kind of flopping outward towards the side. All of these are going to be options for you in your Shavasana. Shavasana, again, is corpse pose. It is a position of rest. It is a position of integration. It is the posture that we struggle the most with because it involves the most quietness, and being quiet is sometimes really hard for us because we're very used to dealing with the buzz and the sounds of everything else throughout the day. So, smack her in the face. Charming, lay down, please. So, allow yourself to close your eyes in your Shavasana and allow yourself to really see the calmness and the depth behind the eyelids. And if you focus on that space and perhaps narrow your vision just a little bit taller and a little bit more north to the third eye space, this is a portal of your clairvoyance and your clarity and your intuition. So it's an area in which you can really access all of the knowledge of the universe. It's an area where answers can be found if you allow yourself to clear all of the fog that's around and surrounding that portal. I listen to poetry on one Sunday a month after my yoga training, and I won't get the lines perfect, but there was a section that talked about children and hope, and talking about how us adults, we grow up and we get so tall that our heads are in the middle of the clouds and the storms, and that's what we see is the storms and the clouds. And really maybe growing up isn't the answer, but growing down so that we have that clarity and we have that space around us so that we can see what's right in front of us. So just know that all of the answers that you are looking for, you already have. They're already within you. We sometimes just have to clear away some of the smoke or some of the storm or the clouds or whatever analogy you'd like to use so that you have clarity and access to the information of the universe. The light and honor in me, as always, respects and honors the light within all of you. Namaste.